It's Stefan Romare, MMA Nit. I'm here at IMMAF World Championship with none other than the two-time world champion, UFC veteran, two-weight world champion in Titan FC, Shorty Torres. So the fourth day just concluded in IMMAF. What do you think about the tournament so far?
I think it's amazing. I think one of the biggest things given, I'm jealous because everyone's coming in their gold rash guards, and when I competed they didn't have the European Open and all these other open tournaments where you can qualify and come in to compete in the IMMAF with the gold rash guards. But it's showing that there's so much more experience out there. These guys are moving, and I'm commentating, watching like, dude, these are pro-level guys. These are pro-level moves that they're, trying to force on these fighters, and it really is phenomenal to see how much these fighters are improving. Honestly, if I competed back in, if all these guys competed back in the day when I was around, I don't know if I would have been a two-time world champ because they've gotten that much better so fast, and I believe in 4 years' time, and I'm excited to see in the next 4 years how much more it's going to improve.
And how important has IMMAF been for your career? You talked to my friend earlier, and you said like you gained so much experience and you had the chance to actually lose your first fight as an amateur. How important has that experience been for you when you turned pro?
For me, I lost my first fight, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me, showing that I needed to get experience, which I did. And one of the biggest things was once I learned about the IMMAF, which is the United States Federation, then eventually learning about the IMMAF and transitioning over, you're fighting pro-level guys at the amateur ranks, and not just fighting pro-level guys, but I say, don't go 5-0 in your own city and then just go pro, and now you're facing some guy from a whole different state or country and he's just that much better than you. It's a fact of you need to expand out there, fight some of the best guys in the world, accept those challenges. Don't be afraid of losing. Mainly as an amateur, you need to lose. It teaches you a lot. Again, either win or learn, and hopefully you'll learn from your mistakes. But again, with this one, you're fighting pro-level guys at the amateur ranks. You're fighting other big fish from different ponds. And they're trying to now, at the World Championship, see who's going to be the biggest fish of them all. And for me, I was able to do that twice. That's freaking awesome for me and the small guy called Shorty being the biggest fish. Yay. But it's a fact of you're also being better respected as a pro because no one has ever done this yet. For me, I immediately got signed to Titan, and we've seen only 5 fights. I become a 2-weight class world champ and defended one in the process. Conor McGregor did that 14-2, and never defended one. So it's a fact of you see what I've been able to achieve because of the IMMAF. What are some of these guys going to do even that much faster?
So there's been like probably 300 fights, and maybe this is a difficult question, but has there been a performance or a fighter that stood out to you so far?
What's crazy is most of the performances or fighters that have stood out to me have actually all lost today. And the reason why I say that is because I'm a fighter. I'm a very aggressive fighter, so I don't have the style and the flamboyant, strikes and all these things where I'm moving flashy strikes. I just don't do that. I'm a grinding type of fighter. So anytime I see someone who's moving like Anthony Pettis or Lomachenko for boxing or so many different styles, I'm like, man, these guys are amateurs? That's freaking awesome. They're moving spectacularly. But then they face a fighter like myself that's just as they don't want to deal with any of it. They take that small impact and they go, all right, we're going to just push the pace. And they go, and they just grind out their fighters, and it's exciting to see these clashing styles from around the world. And overall, these fighters, again, a lot of gold rash guards lost. There was actually a fight today that was 2 gold rash guards fighting each other, 2 champions trying to see who's going to be, the world champ. And it really is just, as a fan, being a commentator, just fun to watch. It makes my job that much easier.
So moving on to your pro career, you got signed to the UFC at 6-0. Your debut was pretty weird. That was against Jared Brooks, yeah. So he was trying to slam you and he knocked himself out. What did you think? Like all of a sudden he's like going limp and you're punching him when you were just up in there.
So for me, I went and got my debut at 7-0. Again, internet mistakes, it's all right. But it's the fact of when I got in there, it was a 9-day notice. I lost 26 pounds. I believe that's what, 12 kilo? And I'm a flyweight, and I did that in 9 days, which is incredible. And I'm very, very happy I was able to do it. Shout out to my nutritionist, Lutrition, for doing it. But it's the fact of when I got in that fight, I wasn't prepared to fight. All I trained for was a weight cut. I wasn't even getting ready for a fight whatsoever. So when I got in there, I go, sure, why not? He beats me up the first round because I'm slowly waking up and going, oh yeah, I need to really get in this. I had the Joanna Young Jacek effect where that weight cut just took a lot out of me. But then that second round, I go, okay, cool, I'm going to push the pace, which I was doing. He was able to get a nice takedown, but I knew he was going to go for the big slam. So I decided to make myself parallel. It's a big wrestling scrambling move. If you know somebody's going to slam you, don't make a T. This is how you pin someone. Go straight and just get parallel with them. And from that, it just so happened that I landed on top of his head. He put himself in that position, but I ended up causing it. So it is in a sense accidental because that's not what I was going for, but I was going to land and take his back, either way. But once I saw and felt him go limp, it's the sad thing that you have to do your job. So I ended up taking his back and punching away. Regardless of the ref that stopped it beforehand or even when he did, it's still a TKO finish for me.
So the rumor is that the UFC is gonna remove the flyweight division, and ONE FC just announced a big signing in Demetrius Johnson, and they're gonna have a flyweight tournament. Any indication where you're going for your next fight?
I don't know yet. I'm negotiating with Brave, I'm negotiating with ONE, Bellator here in Europe, Ryzen, Pancrase messaged me yesterday, possibly KSW as well. So there's so many promotions out there, and I'm trying to show and try to be the front runner for the flyweights and small guys and show the UFC isn't the only promotion in the world, and they really, personally treated me with a lot of disrespect, mainly for having such a big resume and doing nothing wrong. I took 2 last-minute fights and lost my last fight from losing 54 pounds total in 2 months because I had a 9-day notice, had a week-and-a-half break, gained all my weight back fat and happy, thinking I'm not going to fight for a while, and then getting another 20-day notice to lose another 28 pounds. So I believe that's, I think about 13 kg. So about 54 pounds, given I'm not going to do the kg calibration on that one. I believe it's about 20. It's, 20, 25. It's exhausting, for being a flyweight mainly. So, I lost my last fight, and I do blame it on the weight cut, the Joanna Young Jacek effect. But the UFC they never respect the flyweights in general, and that's why a lot of guys are bumping up. And I believe it's really unfair for a lot of the guys because we're not doing anything wrong. We're just small. So we got all, in a sense, thrown out. Some guys are allowed to bump up, and once they lose, they might be bumped out. I don't know how they're going to, determine that. But overall, I'm just doing my thing, see where it goes from here, and showing that the UFC isn't the only promotion in the world, and I'm going to sign a better deal because of it.
Personally, flyweight has always been my favorite division because everyone is so technical, and you had the most dominant UFC champion ever, and they just basically kicked him out. I think it's not the right move on their part. But going back to the ONE FC tournament, is that the tournament format? Is that something that interests you? And do you think that DJ has any competition in that tournament?
I believe he definitely has competition. Again, there's always that fighter's chance. You never know what could happen. Derek Lewis, for example. But it's the fact of you're having an 8-man tournament, given the flyweight division, the UFC is being, eliminated. I feel that they should open it up to maybe double it, maybe 16 people. That would be amazing. Given a super long tournament, we see the Bellator tournament for the heavyweights, how long it's going, but the hype that's going behind it. I do believe there's always a fighter's chance. I believe there's 4 former, ONE FC champions or flyweight champions in that tournament. It'd be awesome to see who does what against whomever, but for me, I want to, fight against some of the best in the world, and I believe that, that tournament right now is one of them with, easily the best flyweight ever. So that would be a dream come true, just to fight some of those guys. I've trained with, Kara, I've trained with, Adriano Moraz. I've met DJ in hand because I fought in the same car with him. A phenomenal guy, by the way. Super tiny. And which is really crazy. But
especially coming from you, huh?
Yeah, that's also a big thing. But it's just, I want to create a legacy. I don't want to be remembered for winning all these fights. I want to be remembered for doing things people usually wouldn't do. And DJ is one of those guys I love to fight. He did call me out before he left the UFC, and that's what I want to do next is possibly maybe DJ in the future.
All right. Thank you very much for the interview. Make sure to tune in to IMMAF.tv, one of the best commentators in this tournament. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
See ya.